Welcome back to Tiny Talk. I'm Brian Sodre, and this is Kramer Cruz. Today, we'll be talking about self-directed IRAs. What is that? Kramer, tell us a little bit about what you do and what are self-directed IRAs.
All the deals that we do them with private capital, right? Third-party investor capital. And so in order to do that, we have to find out not only who is in a position to invest, but also where are the funds coming from? What are the sources of the funds that they're looking to invest? Because we need to find out logistically how to move monies around. We have folks that invest with us from a variety of sources, funding sources. And one of those sources is retirement accounts. They're called self-directed IRAs, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Well, we actually have a little bit of history. We both used to be in finance, and we dealt a lot with individual retirement accounts, IRA. Now, self-directed is new to me. I never knew that you can direct your own funds on where you're investing it.
Yeah.
What's the traditional method for IRAs?
Well, typically, whether you're getting a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, you normally go to some kind of an investment firm like Mason or Van Kampen, and you set up your retirement account through that, right? Sometimes a traditional bank will have it. So normally that's the way folks go about it. Obviously, we all know banks have all sorts of products for folks.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and so usually they'll end up at the bank, and the bank will inform them of their products and services, and they'll say, hey, you can definitely open up an IRA through us. Usually that's how they do it. Other times, for folks that are a little bit more knowledgeable in terms of what's available in the marketplace, they'll go to a firm maybe like a Schwab or something like that, right?
Now, in these types of accounts, you're investing typically into mutual funds, a collection of many different companies that all perform at different levels, right? Yeah. Collectively, they say they average anywhere between 8 to 12%, but nothing's guaranteed. And a big component of that is market cycles. How does a self-directed IRA differ if they're investing into real estate?
For sure. So first of all, this is the point about the return is very common, right? People who have traditional accounts invested in mutual funds, they'll say, oh, well, I'm getting, such and such a return. I'm getting a 9% rate of return per year. But the fact of the matter is they're actually not. And the reason they're not is because folks don't ever really know how to account for the fees that they're being charged in their mutual funds. There's tons of fees, right?
There's always hidden fees.
That's right. And so, you have buy and sell fees because remember, someone is actively managing the fund, the mutual fund, which means you have to have a person or a team of people who have to get paid a salary or a commission to do this, right? And in order for them to maintain their performance and make sure that they deliver on their stated objective within their portfolio, within the mutual fund, they have to buy and sell securities. And each of those exchanges, each of those trades triggers a charge. In addition to that, you have to pay the person, right? There's other management fees, there's yearly fees, a bunch of fees, right? And so when folks buy these retirement plans, the salespeople don't really do a great job explaining all those fees. And even if they did, honestly, the average person would be like, this is all over my head, right? And so they don't think about it. So all they know is they're expected to get this general rate of return, but it isn't because you have to deduct all those fees. And when you account for that, it's not that percentage.
So what's different with Flipworx and how they guide people to a self-directed IRA, how they can control their own investment?
Right. So for some folks, who are not really trying to take the time to understand and to take on the responsibility, the main thing about the self-directed IRA is you are responsible for where your money is going. You're the one now replacing that fund manager. You're becoming the manager of it yourself. You're still going to have a custodian. There is still going to be a company who is holding your account and kind of managing it in the sense, it's really, the management is not even really management, it's just administration, right? They're administrating the account. You're the one managing it in the sense that you're deciding where the money's gonna go. The reason I said about not everyone is gonna wanna do that is because some folks don't want the burden of making sure that the investment is a good choice. They'd rather have someone else make that decision.
So an example of that would be, well, I want to invest into real estate. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to find out how much it costs to renovate, and then I'm going to list it on the market for a profit, right? That's what most people would want to do.
Yeah.
What's different about that method versus investing with Flipworx?
Yeah. So we still can't say that it's guaranteed, right? Because unless it's backed, usually the government is the only one who can say that it's guaranteed, right? So we can say that we are contractually bound to pay certain returns, but legally we can never really say it's guaranteed because it is still an investment at the end of the day. However, the biggest difference between someone investing their money themselves directly buying an asset, perhaps if they're flipping it, they'll renovate it and then sell it. The difference between doing it that way and doing it through Flipworx is that here they're doing all the work themselves, right?
So that means they need to know the contractors, they need to manage their budgets, they need to source all the materials, they need to do everything from the moment they purchased that property to the moment they sold it.
100%. 100%.
That's a lot of responsibility. I'll tell you, I'm in the industry.
For sure. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of pressure. And if you're just starting, it's even more pressure because there's all of the uncertainties, the things you don't know, the things you're just learning. And I'll tell you something, it can be a very expensive lesson to learn if you, miscalculate, if you underwrite incorrectly, if you, it could be a disaster. And it has been. A lot of folks, unfortunately, have experienced that, right? So the way that we're discussing it now, that's what they call active investing or an active investor. When you invest with Flipworx, you're actually a passive investor. So the active one is really Flipworx, right? We're the ones actively engaging in it. You're basically just putting your money to work through Flipworx. So it's still in real estate. Right. It's your money works here. Your money also works here. But here you're having to put a lot of muscle behind it. Here Flipworx puts the muscle and using your capital to make that project happen. Of course,
that you put the muscle behind it.
We do put the muscle, and there's a lot of it to go around. So, I can tell you that, surely the returns are slightly lower right here than they are here, right? But there's a reason why. It's because you're not doing any of the work, right? If you want a higher return, it's no secret. Anybody can go out and they can definitely make more money doing it themselves. Right. Just like anything else. I mean, if you want to renovate the kitchen at your house, you can do it yourself, just buy the materials and save the labor money, or you can pay someone to do it. It's a similar thing. But, all contracts in place, legal documents in place, everything is recorded at the county level. Everything is on the books, and there's protections in place, insurance policies are in place, etc. Right?
So let's recap. With the self-directed IRA, the type of person who owns this, probably somebody who had a career, had some type of IRA, now is retired, maybe they're already drawing from it, maybe there's enough to keep reinvesting. Their option is A, keep it where it is and let it keep growing that way. Option B is like, well, I'd like to take control of my own money and the destination of it. Mm-hmm. I'd like to have a self-directed IRA. Yeah. With that self-directed IRA, I can contact Flipworx, select from different projects that they currently have available, one that maybe I can resonate with, one that offers reasonable returns, one that meets certain timelines that I'd like to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Once I select that portfolio, then you go ahead and offer lien positions, equity documents, joint venture documents, so the customer has some type of collateral for their investment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. And in terms of who owns self-directed IRA, first of all, many folks don't know about self-directed IRAs. And so you'll find that the folks that do know about self-directed IRAs are people who've actually taken the time to do a little legwork and research how money works. How can I best use my money and the different products and services that exist in the financial marketplace to make the most out of my capital, right? And so you
have more control. I think that's key. A lot of people want control of what they're investing in.
100%. We have investors that have full-time jobs, right? But they have a self-directed IRA separate from their job, and they invest with us, through us, with their self-directed account. We also have a lot of entrepreneurs, right, who also have self-directed accounts. So for the most part, at the moment one is, because you can own mutual funds and stocks and things like that in your self-directed account also. There's a lot of other things that you can do that you can't do through a traditional account. So if you wanted to be able to pick your own stocks, for example, you very well could through your self-directed account. In this case, we're talking about real estate, right? So the one thing about it, though, I will say, there's a number of things that you cannot do with a self-directed IRA. And one of those things is you cannot invest in real estate with your account directly for yourself. So if I have a self-directed IRA and I want to go out and I want to buy a property to fix it and to flip it, I can't take the money from the self-directed IRA, buy the house in my name, and then fix it and flip it and then sell it. Right. And all of these rules are set by the IRS, right? What I can do is I can invest in a third-party project, right? So I would be able to invest in your project. I can invest in a cousin's project. Actually, that brings up another point. There are certain members of your immediate family that can also cannot receive that money, right?
So se jodió tío.
So yeah, Theo can't get the funds. And you know, I will say there is a phenomenal book that I recommend folks get. It's called the Self Directed IRA Handbook, and in that handbook, it's like a playbook. It tells you all the do's and don'ts, right, of what you can do and what you can't do. And so I highly recommend that because it'll tell you exactly who you can invest with and through and who you can't. So anyway, going back to who owns these accounts, all types of different folks own them. It is an incredibly smart way to use your retirement account to invest in real estate because not only do you get the higher returns typically investing in real estate compared to investing in mutual funds and stocks, but you also get the same tax benefits that you normally get in your in a regular retirement, your traditional retirement account. You also get it in the self-directed retirement account.
That's huge.
Yeah. So if it's a self-directed, if it's a self-directed IRA, same rules apply as if it was a traditional Roth
Right.
or IRA.
If you're wondering, well, who has a self-directed IRA, or maybe who can benefit from a self-directed IRA, think about, again, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, siblings, where they've had a career, they're making decent income, and they're setting aside funds for retirement purposes. That's the only reason to open an IRA is if you're focused on investing for your retirement. Now, if they already have a type of retirement account and maybe they're not too excited about it, they don't understand it, maybe they want to get into just real estate, this is a great type of referral that you can refer to Flipworx, earn a small compensation for that referral, and your family and friends and community will be very grateful because not many people know about this. I didn't know about this. So thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I didn't know about it either. As you mentioned earlier, you know, we were both in finance early on. That's how we met. And quite honestly, it wasn't until I went into real estate that I learned about self-directed accounts.
Right.
We never heard about it before. I never heard about it.
Me neither.
I was blown away though when I did learn about it because, you know, and since then, obviously I have met other folks who do know about it. And that's always shocking to me because I'm like, no one is talking about it, right? No one is saying anything.
But it's a big industry. I mean,
it's huge. I know, but it's almost like like a powerful secret that nobody, right? In our case, it benefits us to let people know about it because it offers them, it opens a door,
an option.
Yeah, for them to be able to do business with us, right? Because what if, you know, there are folks who, listen, everyone has very different money management strategies or practices, right? And so there are folks who are incredibly frugal. They earn their money. They don't spend a dime of it. All of it goes to savings, right? They save it. And what better way to save than in a place where you can actually grow your money, right? Normally that's called investing. And so even though, you know, there are some who have the hold to the philosophy that putting your money in mutual funds or the stock market is not actually investing, it's really saving, right? But that's a different story. I'm neither here nor there. I'm just saying, putting it away somewhere. Right?
Let's not get a ton of dislikes on this video now. By
yeah. Well, hey, listen. The reality is, right, that things happen, and it is a great practice, and it's important to be responsible with our money. Right. And saving it is way above blowing it on things that don't matter. Right? And so definitely, I applaud those folks. But that's what I'm saying. Some folks have all of their money in their retirement accounts. Some folks have all of their money under the mattress. Some folks have it in their life insurance policies.
I think the kind of person who can benefit from this is the person that doesn't want to lose because of inflation. Inflation rises at a 5%. If your money's not keeping up with that, at least with inflation, you're losing money.
Facts.
And personally, I love real estate. That's kind of where I've always put my money. So learning about this opened up the world of options to me, and I think that's what people are looking for, options.
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge. And not to mention, right, it's one thing to have, but it's almost like you know, you can have a buffet of things to choose from, but if they're all pretty terrible, then it's not very exciting, right? But so one thing I do want to mention, because there are some folks who have something to say about the costs involved with having a self-directed account. There are people who say, well, there's a lot more fees in self-directed accounts than there are in regular types of retirement accounts. And the point that I want to clarify, this is really important because remember, real estate is incredibly, incredibly nuanced, right? Every project is different and every situation is very unique. Right. And in this particular case, it's one of those cases. When folks say that self-directed retirement accounts have more fees than regular accounts, that is technically true. However, it's also not true because of the context that they're trying to get you to believe. And they're trying to get you to believe that it's actually more expensive. There is a difference between something being more expensive and it having more fees. And you might think, like, how is that possible? Well, there's a bigger menu of fees that this type of account will have, but they don't always apply to you. In fact, the bulk of them, they're only in specific cases where you want to do certain things that those fees will apply. As opposed to with a regular type of account, those mutual fund fees are always in effect, right? You're always going to pay all those fees. So one of the important things is that with a self-directed retirement account, there is a yearly fee that the custodian will charge you, but it's a flat, small fee compared to, and when I say small, I mean like a few $100, okay? Compared to a percentage of your portfolio. That's a major difference because that means that as your money grows, so will your expenses. With these accounts, you pay the same amount no matter what.
Oh, that's
It's huge. It's a game changer.
You got me excited, Kramer. So I'm a customer, or I have my cousin who's a customer and wants to invest some money. They're really excited about tiny houses. They think it's the future of housing. They see that it solves problems for affordable housing. It lets first-time home buyers get into home ownership, which is a huge deal for a lot of people. How do they benefit from working with you?
Well, especially if they're going to be using their self-directed account to do it, right? One of the things that, as I mentioned earlier, they still get all the same benefits, the same tax benefits, but with the potential for greater returns than the other way. So that's a major selling point for that strategy. The other thing is that we have a variety of different types of projects that we do on a regular basis, and all of those projects, you know, they each have different timelines. They each have different rates of return that they can offer the investor. You know, from fix and flip projects to new development projects to, you know, single small development versus, you know, like what we're doing with the 57 units, right?
Even commercial too, I think, right?
Commercial as well, yeah. You know, assisted living facilities, storage facilities have become really popular lately too. Multifamily buildings, or even buying one that already exists and renovating it, right? Increasing the value.
So many different ways in real estate that they get to choose from to determine, hey, I'd like to put my money on that. Of course, they'd learn from you about all the returns and the collateral and the documentation that takes place in getting involved, right?
Yeah, 100%. And so that's the beauty of, I mean, that's one of the things that I really enjoy is being able to offer a menu of opportunity to folks, right? Because a lot of times, again, you know, you go to the bank and they also have their menu, but it's kind of the same boring menu. You know, it's like the restaurant you go to all the time. It's the same boring menu. The returns are paper thin. They're like nothing. You know, you mentioned inflation. They're well below inflation. You'll never get anywhere, right? And so that's definitely, and you know, especially with what we have going on here with the 57 unit tiny home development, it's a big deal, right? It's gonna bring a major change to that community. And so, you know, when they invest through us, they get to be a part of that. And of course, you know, we want long-term future business with our investors. So the folks that lock in with us, the ones that we build good relationships with, they can take advantage of opportunities to come for a lifetime.
I think that's a part that's important to a lot of investors is how can I count on Flipworx to deliver? Sure. My personal experience with you guys is I've seen you go through it. I've seen you solve problems. I see you take care of your customers. I see you deliver on your promises. And that's what really attracted me to working with you. So I can appreciate that about you. I'm sure your customers love you.
Oh, yeah.
And every time that you give them some money, they're like, give it right back. Hey, give me some more.
We have them. We certainly do. And I appreciate those words because it's important to us, right? It's not an easy business by any stretch. I mean, being an entrepreneur and owning your own business and running your own business and growing it successfully is challenging. Doing
any
it in
business.
Yeah, any business, exactly. You know, right? Doing it in real estate with all of its complexities is definitely not any easier. So it's important to us. We love it, though.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kramer, for being here today and sharing some exciting information for our audience to learn from. Please stay tuned for next week as we bring somebody else that's new and exciting and teaching you about how to succeed in finance and real estate. Thanks again. My name's Brian Sodre and
I'm Kramer Cruz with Flipworx. I did want to mention one thing. If you have questions that you want to get answered by professionals, you can visit www.directedira.com/whole track. It's the address you see here on the screen. Visit there. You can request a free consultation, get all your questions answered, and they'll be able to help you out, no problem.
Awesome. See you guys.
See you.